Check this out. On Saturday, March 2nd, 2024, Otabek, Kholmatov, and Raymond fought for the vacant WBA featherweight title. And I must say that both men came into this fight believing that they would be the one to walk away with the title. This fight was a tale of two halves. The first half of this fight, Kholmatov proved to be the better boxer due to landing cleaner, effective punches and also landing nice punches to the body. And he also had a higher work rate. Now, Ford would land some nice shots himself, but he lost a lot of these early rounds, in my view, due to his inactivity. And he wasn't giving Kholmatov different looks or level changes, mostly standing in the high guard for the majority of the fight. One adjustment that Ford's team told him to do that changed the trajectory of this fight was they told him to start walking Kholmatov down. Now, apparently, Kholmatov had a pre-existing knee injury. One of the top-ranked commentators tried to say it was an ACL. Fam, this man did not fight on a torn ACL. But perhaps, he might have had that Tom Brady MCL injury. But regardless, his knee wasn't 100%. And I'm surprised that Kholmatov and his team went with the decision to fight off the back foot after Ford's adjustment. Now, the best round of this fight had came in round 5. Both men had great moments. I gave this round to Kholmatov based off of his work rate alone. But when we hit round 6, you can begin to see that Kholmatov is starting to fatigue. His punches, they weren't as sharp as they were before. But after round 6, I had it 5-1 Kholmatov. It wasn't like he was dominating the fight. A lot of these rounds were close. But I liked Kholmatov's work rate and his body punches. They had scored him this lead for me. From round 7 onward, though, it was all Ford. Ford's best tools were the jab and the uppercut. And I'll say his conditioning, too. And it also helped that Kholmatov stopped going to the body. Kholmatov was throwing these wild-ass hooks, which he was throwing earlier in the fight. The only difference was that his body work had helped him score points. Round 11 is the second best round of this fight. And it's also the round that Kholmatov got off his bike, which he should have done about 6 rounds ago. But I gave this round to Ford. He had beautiful counters off of them wild-ass hooks that Kholmatov was throwing. That gave him the edge in my view. Headed into the 12th round, I had it 6-5 Ford. Now, on the official scorecard, 2 of the judges had Kholmatov winning the fight. I believe both of them had it scored 106-103 Kholmatov. So Ford needed a stoppage to win, which brings us to round 12, which was pure domination from Raymond Ford. It should have been a knockdown after Ford had stunned Kholmatov with the uppercut and followed it with the leaping jab. The only thing that kept Kholmatov up were the ropes, so that should have been a knockdown. Regardless, though, Ford got the stoppage about 10 seconds later, 7 seconds before the fight actually ended in what was an entertaining fight. The stoppage was correct. A fighter cannot have his back turned like that, especially after how Kholmatov reacted to the leaping jab. Now, for performances, I give Raymond Ford a C+. He boxed nicely. His team gave him the proper adjustments to make to overcome this opponent. The only issue I have with Ford is his early inactivity and lack of head movement. He made an already tough fight tougher by not utilizing these things. And if he didn't get this stoppage, he would have not been walking away as the champion. For Otabek Kholmatov, I give him a C. Early on in this fight, it looked like he was going to walk away with the title, but he punched himself out. I really didn't understand this strategy to fight off the back foot and to utilize lateral movement, especially if the man had a pre-existing knee injury heading into the fight. And also abandoning the body attack in the second half of this fight was puzzling to me. Out of 5, I give this fight 3.25. Entertaining bout. I recommend it. So what's next for these fighters? For Otabek Kholmatov, he need to go ahead and rehab that knee. He's definitely a fighter who could snag a belt, though, at this 126-pound division if he chooses to stay. As for Raymond Ford, he's expressed moving up in weight, but Eddie Hearn wants him to stay at 126. Apparently, Saudi Arabia is hosting a Matchroom versus Queensberry event, and Hearn wants Ford to unify at 126 on that exact show. Ford has also gone into a tiff with O'Shaquie Foster on social media about a fight. And not to digress, but I did do a fight review on Twitter that featured one O'Shaquie Foster in his last bout against Abraham Nova. I think you should get at a little read. But getting back on track, if I'm Ford's team, I would unify at 126. Get the bag from those Saudi princes. See if O'Shaquie moves up to 135. Or see if he fight Lamont Roach Jr. And then you just go from there. In the meantime, Ford needs to work on his head movement. Because O'Shaquie Foster is a precision puncher. At least that's what I saw from his last fight. If that version of him shows up. He's not going to make too many unnecessary movements. And he's going to come into the fight well conditioned. But congratulations to Mr. Raymond Ford on winning his first world title. Peace.